up, Survivor Thrivers? Authentically me, Regina B, is back filming a video for you guys. It has been probably about 2 weeks since I filmed anything, and that's because, y'all, I had a friend show up uninvited. And it's just been, I've been trying to wait it out, and I'm like, I'm gonna just wait until this friend leaves. But I have not been given a date to when this friend is about to leave, okay? So I'm trying to keep my thoughts positive, but I've been wondering, like, so when are you leaving? And that friend that I'm talking about is this right here. It's this. It's very, I'm 13 again, and I'm dealing with those emotions again. Like looking in the mirror, like, it's fine. No one's gonna notice it. Oh my God. It's giving me that, you know. And I haven't been 13 in 26 years. So, you know, in doing the cognitive behavioral therapy, what I've been doing and how I've been using that is I go in and I say, man, you know, it's like I'm young again. It's like I'm young. My skin is young. It still gets those hormonal or stress bumps like when I was young. I have a young, supple skin. I'm not ugly. It's not gross. It's just a part of life. But you know what? I decided that tonight I was in the mood to film something. I wanted to try out my ring light, and I just wanted to get week 6, days 5 through 7 out for you guys, so you know where we are. I have started week 7, day 1, but it's really just a reflection of everything, that all of the work that we've done over the past 7 weeks. So it's just really going back to different things that you wrote maybe in your first week, like what your goals were, why you picked up the book. So I've begun week 7, day 1. But as the days was getting ahead of me, and I knew that I wasn't going to be filming, I haven't done any other days besides day 1. And because I know that that's going to be the theme of this week, which is just going back and reflecting on the different weeks and different things that we put into practice, what worked, what didn't work, I've kind of been putting it off. So that's where we are with that. What else? Any other updates? I don't have any other updates other than the fact that the school is basically priming us parents, letting us know that we're probably going to be going back to virtual. I knew that it was probably in the mix like weeks ago when they started sending home the kids, the littler kids, iPads. I was like, okay, this system is up to something. But anyway, let's jump into the book. I'm gonna turn to the pages. As you can see, I'm hiding in my son's room. He is at work right now. My daughters are eating dinner. It is 6:32 and they're eating dinner. My husband actually cooked dinner. He cooked his famous shrimp boil. It's got like lemons in it, crab legs in it, shrimp in it, sausage in it, potatoes, corn on the cob. So I'm really looking forward to going in there and chomping down. And he has them all set up at the table. And what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to challenge myself since we've been doing this cognitive behavioral therapy, we know that we need to challenge ourselves and do things that are, you know, outside of our comfort zone, or things to challenge ourselves so that we can reap the rewards. But what I'm going to try to do, because I don't know how my son is going to feel about me filming in his room and all of his stuff being out there and exposed. So I'm going to try to download this new editing app that I heard of called Epic, and I'm going to see if I can blur the background and just make it like, I've watched some videos where people have like fake scenes behind them. Like, I'm a grassroots type of person. I enjoy watching just regular people who have started their channel from the ground up, and I love it all. And I love, yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. We're going to do week 6, day 5. Let me get into the book. And this is very much like I'm relaxed. I'm in for the night. I'm not changing again. What I got on is what I'm sleeping in, which is just like a little tube top and some Hanes sweats from Wallet World. Okay, so here we go. So it says we're getting into social anxiety disorder, and it says CBT for social anxiety disorder includes customized techniques to address the specific cognitive components of the condition. Using exposures to test beliefs. Julia was afraid that people would be terribly bored and uncomfortable during her presentation. We worked to identify how she would know that they were feeling these things, what they would be doing, how would it differ from their behavior when others were speaking to the group. During her presentation, Julia forced herself to look up and see how people were responding, even though she was afraid of what she would see. To her pleasant surprise, her workers looked about the same as ever. Some were checking their phones, some were listening intently, others were nodding. Being specific about what she expected to see and then comparing her prediction to what actually happened allowed for a fair test of Julie's beliefs. Why is that name so hard for me? I'm either saying Julie or Julia. I don't know. She concluded that her fears were unfounded in this case and probably in others. If you'll be doing exposures for social anxiety, be sure to specify what you're afraid will happen and how you'll test whether it did. It's easy to rely on your gut feeling about how things went. If you're prone to a lot of social anxiety, our gut will be biased to believe we did badly. Consider a social situation you fear and what you're afraid might happen when you confront it. How could you set up an exposure to test your predictions? Flop. So I wrote attending a bar class with new friends. I had a friend that invited me to, it's actually called Ariel Bar. And there's a couple of predictions that I have. 1, I'm going to hurt myself. 2, I'm going to look stupid. 3, I'm going to look stupid. And 4, I'm going to hurt myself. I have yet to attend the class because she had already signed up for it. So she's going to finish out her sessions, and I'm going to go with her to another bar class that starts with 1 free session, because that'll help me see if it's something that I actually want to pay for, because this is a mommy on a budget. So, I put being awkward, talking too much, injury, never done aerial bar before. Maybe testing it out by going by myself first, or maybe watching a YouTube video of someone doing it so I can get an idea of what it's all about. I've seen a commercial or maybe a music video of it. Like, I know what it is. It's basically hanging from sheets that's on the ceiling. So, I'm definitely going to check it out, because just the exposure things that I have already been doing, like going to the spin class, I guess I inadvertently did do exposure because I go to the gym and I know what the gym setup is like, but I had my predictions about the specific class. Like I told you guys in a previous video, if you haven't checked that out, definitely go check it out. I believe it was sometime in week 3 or 4, but my predictions when I went to that spin class was like, everyone was just going to be fit. It was going to be, predominantly people not of my race. I was going to be like the only one, people were going to be like fit, like a Peloton instructor commercial type of thing. And it was none of those things. It was a very small, intimate class. There were people there that were of my race, and it was just a really, really fun experience. And I ended up doing it like 3 times, but those seats is not meant for me because I got meat. Okay, so I haven't been back because the last time I went, I actually ended up kind of hurting my groin area, and I was like, I'm gonna take a little break from that. So getting back into the book, let's go to the next page. Okay, Dropping safety behaviors. I'm finding I don't have to do as much in social situations as I thought I had to. Julie told me. When I go out with friends, I'd constantly be thinking of what I was going to say next. I was so worried about any awkward pause in the conversation. Me too. That's why a lot of times when I tell people that I have social anxiety, I don't like being around people, they're so shocked. They're like, but you seem so calm, you seem this. It's because I'm feeling every moment of every second with words. I'm keeping the conversation. Let's get it going. And even if it gets silent, I find something to say. I find a question to ask. I find something to compliment, and it's exhausting. What's it been like as you've let go of some of those things? I asked her. Well, I was surprised at first that the conversation didn't come to a screeching halt. I've been doing it for so long, I just assumed it was the only thing between me and these terrible silences. She paused. I guess I really feel like I'm in the conversation now. Before, I was maybe one corner in it and 2/3 in my head, so I wasn't really hearing the other person. True. I was so focused on making sure I had something to say. Julie went on to say that one of her friends recently told her she really enjoyed talking with her because Julie was such a good listener. Julie was starting to see that she was a valued friend, not the socially awkward person others wanted to avoid like she assumed. So it says Julie found that by dropping her safety behaviors, she was able to be herself more and more and be more present with others. Letting go of safety behaviors is especially important in social anxiety disorder because they can actually worsen our social abilities, as well as lead us to believe we can't do well without them. Other examples of safety behaviors in social anxiety disorder include keeping my hands in my pockets so people don't see them shake, excessively rehearsing what I'm going to say before speaking, asking lots of questions to avoid talking about myself, relying on alcohol to relax in social situations. Yes. I'm a pockets person. I love pockets. I love these sweats because they have pockets. And so I find that so funny that pockets is one of them. I don't really excessively rehearse what I'm going to say, but I've stopped rehearsing in my head what I think is going to happen before I even get there. Asking a lot of questions. Yeah, I do that. I've stopped doing that though. I've been recently telling myself that I don't need to fill the air with conversation, because then I just end up going home beating myself up dang, you talk too much, or dang, you share too much. So yeah, and then relying on alcohol. That's why bars are filled. That's why restaurants have liquor lists. If you struggle with social anxiety, can you identify any of your own safety behaviors in social situations? What do you think are the advantages of using these behaviors and the disadvantages? So I just kind of share, I definitely use alcohol to help anxiety. I do put my hands in my pockets a lot, not that I thought about my hands shaking, but I just like the feeling. I just like pockets. I just do. I like, and then excessive talking. The advantages: quick way to relax, the alcohol helps me feel confident. The pockets leaves no room for awkward personal questions. As far as excessively talking, the disadvantages: I may end up drinking too much and then I have a hangover and then I'm not happy. No, for me, there's no disadvantage for putting my hands in my pockets. I love pockets. I leave feeling like I talk too much. So that was a disadvantage to excessive talking. And so then it says turning attention outward. As Julie prepared to do her exposures, we talked about where her attention is in social situations. I'm usually checking to see how I'm doing, she said. If I'm paying attention to the other person, it's often to try to see if I'm making them uncomfortable. She laughed. That's probably why I never remember people's names when we're introduced. I'm just trying to see if this person thinks I'm weird. Hey, that's so true. There's so many people I run into. I just be like, hey, girl, hey, because I do not remember your name. And then I don't want them to feel weird or awkward or even offended by saying, hey, what was your name again? Because especially when they remember my name, I'm like, okay. So as we discussed it further, Julie realized focusing on herself only increases her anxiety, which makes her more self-conscious, which leads to even greater anxiety. What would happen if you stopped focusing on yourself during conversations? I asked her. I don't know, she said. It might go better, but I also worry I'll be acting weird and making people feel awkward. And I won't know it. She agreed to practice taking the spotlight off herself in her social interactions and see what would happen. Self-focus can be thought of as a type of safety behavior. Like other safety behaviors, it probably doesn't help us and likely makes things worse. So it says, when you're in uncomfortable social situations, how much of your attention is directed towards yourself and how you're coming across versus on the other person. If you find yourself being focused on yourself, what effects have you noticed? And that was page. Yep. So I said, wow, I pay very close attention to me, how I'm coming off, my body language, my facial expressions, what my reaction will be to what the person is saying, my tone, etc. Never realized it was a safety behavior, but like Julie, I never remember people's names. And it's exhausting. Like when I talk to, like, for example, my niece, she's like about to be 21, and she calls me, I'm very good at listening because I know that, first of all, it's my niece, and then I know that she's calling me not necessarily to hear me talk a bunch about myself, not really to get advice, but she just wants someone to listen and to understand. So with her, I'm very good at just listening. I'm very good at just asking her questions related to what she's talking to me about. So I know that I can be present in social situations. And when I'm with people that I feel safe with, I know that I can, not overly focus on myself, and I can really just listen to them and focus to them. But in situations that make me uncomfortable, like maybe a dinner party or maybe a bar setting, even if I go with my husband, like he can strike up conversations with people. I'm not comfortable with that. And when he does that, I don't join in the conversation. And if I'm pulled into the conversation, I do what Julie does. I'm thinking about my eye contact. I'm thinking about my tone, my body language. And it's really exhausting because it's like, yo, I'm just being me. Like, I'm just me. I can't change the eyes that God gave me. I can't change the voice. I can't change. It's just me. It's who I am. And I'm also learning, and I've been actively working on for a while because of my small daughters and things that they say. I've been working on especially telling them other people's feelings are not your responsibility. And I started doing that when my daughter first came home and told me that there was a friend of hers that she wanted to play with a new kid, but the friend was like, I don't want to play with a new kid. And if you play with a new kid, I'm going to be upset. And so she was like, I was really upset because I wanted to play with the new kid, but I didn't want my friend to be upset and sad. So I just went ahead and played with my friend. And I was just like, no, you tell your friend that, I understand that you're upset, that I'm not going to play with you, but I do want to play with this new friend and I want to make a new friend, but you can come with us or you can't. And I just wanted her to know that, like, that friend's feelings of sadness is not your responsibility. That's not your bag to carry. You know what I mean? Her feelings is her feelings. And I've learned from telling her that is the most power that we have is control over ourselves. And when we say things like, you made me, or that person made me angry, that person made me sad, my kids made me frustrated and yell at them, like, I'm giving away a lot of power. No one should be able to make you do anything. And that's something that I feel God blessed me to realize, because that's not anything that was ever taught to me. That's not anything that I ever witnessed in my surroundings. And in fact, the term, you made me, you made me hit you, made me pop you in your mouth. That's just like normal. And now that I have children of my own, it's like, no, I want you to have ownership of your feelings, but I want you to make sure that others are taking ownership of their feelings as well. So just in thinking about this, and just in thinking about how much time I spend worrying about how I come off to others is just so not my responsibility. Like my great grandmother did used to say, people's opinions of you is none of your business. And so just in reflecting on this and thinking about what I wrote, it's like, if I'm making you feel awkward or weird, you could totally stop talking to me, but it's not my responsibility to overly tweak myself like I'm a robot just because I may be making someone awkward. And then going back to the whole point of this book is we really don't know if we're making people feel weird and awkward. We don't know that. That's a prediction. And then back when we go and we do the negative thought pattern worksheet, what's the evidence for that? And what's the evidence against that? You know, and we can't read people's minds. So if someone's looking at us and we're thinking we're making them weird, they could be thinking they're making us feel. So anyway, but that was day 5 done. I am going to pause it. I was going to just go through and do days 6 and 7 right now, but we're at 21 minutes so far, and I really want to keep the video short and sweet for you guys. If you haven't checked out any of the other videos, I really suggest you do it. It's been a fun journey, just sharing my therapy workbook journey with you guys, and I've really enjoyed it. It really has helped me be more confident. It's helped me be more direct. It's helped me in a recent conversation that I had with my younger sister, because I'm going to be watching my nephew, and I started to feel anxious, like, oh, what if I say this and she doesn't like it? And I was like, no, I'm not going down that road. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to mean what I say. So many times in situations that involve, it's kind of like a family situation, but it's a business situation. And when you come into it with anxiety, the business side of it can get blurred. And I just wanted to be very direct and very like, okay, I need to make sure that he's picked up at this time. I need to make sure that, you know, if you say you're going to pay me on this day, you need to pay me on this day. There's going to be a couple of times where I can see if you may need to be late or anything like that, because I've experienced that in my own life. But we're not going to get too far behind, you know, and setting up boundaries. So I've really enjoyed the journey. I'm also not going to get into let that go. I will do that next time, because week 6 or days 6 and 7 are much shorter. So I will share my progress with you guys in this one. And then for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is the therapy workbook that we have been working through. I really do suggest picking up this book, or if you don't want to, you can go back through my videos and go along the journey with me. But thank you guys so much. I have one new subscriber. I believe they're private because their name didn't come up, but thank you so much for joining the journey. It's a slow process in growing, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you for all of my followers that have supported me, that have watched my videos. I greatly appreciate it. It gives me encouragement to continue going forward, to continue this journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing new content with you. I thought that I had the book picked out that we're going to go through when we're done with this one, but I actually started doing this David Goggins book, and it's on an Audible, and I like the Audible so far, so I'm probably going to just go ahead and get the book. But he has challenges at the end of each of his chapters, and so I was just like, oh, I kind of want to share that with my channel, because, you know, the challenges seem fun, and it's also, you know, self-work. And he's like tough, you know, my dad wasn't in my life, but he's like a tough, like, he talks, you know, tough and stern, and uses a lot of explicitives, but it honestly does feel like it's coming from a place of love. It doesn't, for me, I've read reviews where people are like, oh, he's misogynistic, or oh, he's too harsh. But for me and my personality type, I was just like, I'm digging what you're saying. And then, you know, he shares his childhood, and I have some similarities. I can say, thankfully, I did not go through some of the harsh things he went through, but but I did go through some of the experiences that he's experienced. So I'm going to put a period in it. I hope you're well. I hope you're in good health. May God give you good health on my behalf. I'm praying for you. It is hard out there right now, but we're going to make it through. We are going to make it through because not only did we survive, we thrive. Oh, that's new. I like it. Peace.